I bet it would be like.
You can stand right there. Touching somebody. For my kids in school, I would jump around like this and stuff, and they would keep looking at me. They might cause a little trouble, so. Okay, first off, thank you for coming. I'm going to try to do thank yous with personal people that are here. I've been working on artist statements, reasons for what I'm doing, and that stuff is so hard. And everybody who's already given their show and their talk knows how hard it is to get up here and talk about your work, because it's really hard to even figure out what your work's about in the first place. But I've got a pretty good concrete idea of why I do my work and how it relates to my life. And that's what this one in particular is about. Exploring the void within its context, the show you are seeing, a foundation for understanding. And I'm not going to go through and read it because I want you to do that. But that's kind of the foundation of how I'm looking at my life, living my life, and why this artwork makes sense for me. Or today, I want to start with it, alright? It says, my expressions are concerned with the soul rather than material things. Pretty soon you'll hear me talk about body and mind, maybe. Well, I'm a material thing, okay? I'm not too interested in my body too much, but I use it. They seek questions. That is the main thing. You don't know what my work means? Good, because it's got a lot of questions in it. Questions help you grow. Pieces to a larger definition or description of the nature or meaning of existence. We all have life through the process of becoming aware of personal spaces. So what do I mean? Well, I don't know. I've got to paint this window. But me, at that time in my life, was kind of snooty and I didn't want to paint a window because that's representational. And I just didn't do that. But I painted the window as like a psychoanalysis of why I needed to understand this window. And the first successful piece that came from painting that window is this one. What I did was I created these stretchers, okay? And all this has meaning. I apply meaning to this, so maybe you need to hear me to understand it, but that's why you're here, so this is a good thing. I consider paint, the actual paint on this canvas, as an extension of my being, and that's very important because this is an extension of me, or you can think of it as my soul, my inner workings, as you will. And of course, some of us in our lives have holes in our being, and I consider those holes as voids. So this first body of work with these dual canvases is all about emotions derived from loss. This is a loss in my life. These are holes. What I wanted to do was balance that void. There's so many things in my life I'd have back or do different, and it's so hard and regretful, and I wanted to balance it. But I asked the kids that I talked to the other day, how many of you think that's actually a balanced piece of artwork? And I said, raise your hand, and none of them did. They're pretty smart. Maybe they just realized that we'll never get back all these things, and the void is so powerful that even this little piece that is almost a mirror image cannot balance it. My grandpa was actually dying, pancreatic cancer. It was sad, it was sorrowful, and I had a loss in my life at that time, and I didn't make this piece just to be my grandpa, but it turned into it. And he was such an extraordinary figure in my life that I held him high. It's a thing I couldn't grasp, and although this hole is pretty refreshing and you wish you could get to it, you can't. And so I placed him out of view, and I put the weight of my emotion below it, and I want you to feel that. And I came to a revelation, I really did. And it might just seem simple to you, but it was profound to me. Everything was in a duality. And when you have two things that are separate of each other, there's always that V in between because they're always competing. And it's my consciousness versus my unconsciousness. What do I do? What do I not do? How do I live my life? I want to live it this way, but this is the path I really should go on. And that's hard in all of us as human beings. This looks a lot different, right? Those emotions were painted on canvases that have been gessoed. And that's kind of like a primer that you put on the canvas, and white. It puts white on your canvas first. It's good stuff. Hey, it costs about $5 too. Go to Hobby Lobby, check it out. Get a piece of canvas that you started painting right there, okay? But what I started to do, I stopped priming my stuff. And there was a reason. Because like that was a part of me, the paint was an extension of my being, yes, but they seemed like emotions just floating on the wall. They don't have anywhere to live. And for emotions to live, they need a body. And the canvas now becomes the metaphor for the body. And the experience within your life, the paint is actually soaked into the canvas, and it lives within a body now. I started putting the canvas on the floor because I didn't want it hanging on the wall because I kept working within a set dimension already. So being able to walk around the work was good for me because I could see it from every angle and decide where I wanted to put it. That also has meaning though too, because we're grounded people within this earth, and I want to literally put it on the ground. The paint has been stained in the canvas, and when you put the stain in the canvas, it flows through the canvas. And that's the main thing that this work is about, I think. The flowing represents my free will. All of us as human beings, I believe, have free will to decide our fate. My dad was flipping through one of my art books last night, and he came to a page, and I was trying to sleep, and he goes, "Gabe! Like Dad, no!" He flipped to a page. He says, "This looks like your work." And I go, "Yeah, she's one of my influences." Helen Frankenthaler said that the best pieces seem like they've been created in an instant. And it's safe to say that I've thrown away many canvases that didn't feel like they were created in an instant. I didn't lose myself in them. But what's hanging in this room are pieces that worked. I might not be able to tell you how they happened, because I don't know how that happened. But it was created in an instant, and it's wonderful. And so I totally believe that. I find my work to be very spiritual, and I don't mean religious, but I mean spiritual. And spiritual can come from the Bible. Moses went up to Mount Sinai, and the Lord said, "You must be scared of what's going to happen to you. But I will cover the mountain like a cloud, and I will watch over you." And later on, that mountain looked like it was in a flame. And he also exposed and showed himself to Moses in a burning bush. And can you see it?
Yes, sir.
I can see it.
I do.
So my work is highly spiritual, okay? Not all of it, because this one's totally different. This was just a wave of paint that came together wonderful. But it has just as much resonance with myself as this one does. And it's all about the journey and experiences of my life. And I told him earlier, I said I saw an elephant in it, and he said this was his elephant right here. Can you see it with the ear and the trunk? Yeah, that's good. But I said I saw my elephant right here. Here's the head and here's the trunk that goes all the way across the head. The umbrella, when I said that was totality of space, the umbrella to me represents pretty much everything we can know and what we can't know. This work has so much wisdom and questions in it that it keeps me up at night.